Good evening, and welcome to the Delta Research and Educational Foundation's webinar series entitled Empowering Families Through Financial Health and Wellness. I am Carla Green, Executive Director for DREF, and we are excited about this opportunity to educate and inspire each of you on how to achieve your financial goals. Are you ready to take this life-changing journey with us? We have worked tenaciously to impart information that will empower you to become a better steward of your hard earned income. Please be mindful that it is never too late to understand the importance of being knowledgeable about how money and finances affect you. This 10-week webinar series offered by DREF is designed to educate you on managing your finances and understanding fundamental principles of money, credit, budgeting, investing, and more. Our ultimate goal is not only to help you gain a clearer understanding of financial concepts, but also help you understand how to apply those concepts to your overall life goals. Simply stated, learn how to take care of your money, and it will take care of you. Throughout this series, we will offer incentives designed to help you achieve your financial goals. Now, without further ado, it is with great honor that I introduce to you our distinguished presenter, Dr. Lynn Richardson, an author, certified chaplain, licensed financial professional and real estate broker, certified loan originator, celebrity financial coach, and entertainment executive. Dr. Richardson has worked with diverse populations, from helping single parents achieve their financial goals to collaborating with millionaires. Kelly Price, Faith Evans, Erica Campbell, MC Light, and Russell Simmons are just a few of the celebrities she has worked with. Dr. Richardson has authored a plethora of books that have been noted throughout the nation for teaching others how to achieve wealth and grow their money. She has appeared regularly on the Good Morning America show and other national news and radio broadcasts. She is also the host of the Millionaires Roundtable. Dr. Lynn Richardson is a wife and mom who resides with her family in Southern California. And last but not least, she is a proud member of my illustrious sisterhood, Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. Please get comfortable, take good notes, and let's all take this journey together. Buckle up and get ready for an incredible ride with DREF and Dr. Lynn Richardson. And thanks again for tuning in.
Well, so thank you so much. I am so excited about being here. Please pardon my very brief uh, uh, issue here with getting everything on the screen. I am so excited. I'm so thankful to DREF. I'm so thankful to Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. But more importantly, I am so thankful to each and every one of you for making the decision, for making the commitment, and for making the time to address how we are going to empower families through financial health and wellness. Well, we have a lot to get through over the next several weeks or several months that we're going to be working together. And so I'd like to just get right to it. So let's get started. First, I'll just share very briefly an overview of what we're going to cover together. And each one of these sessions literally has the ability to help you change the landscape of your entire financial situation. And so there'll be more information coming, but today we're going to talk about spending less money. And I know that that's a topic that we necessarily don't want to hear about, but I have to tell you that this is so important for us to understand. And I'd just like to share very quickly, how did we get here? Well, before I tell you anything about what you should do for yourself. I think it's very important for you to understand where I came from and the things that I had to do for myself, because I believe it is a misconception to think that I have it all together. It is a misconception to believe that because I have an academic degree, that everything is going well. It is a misconception to believe that just because I want to do the right thing, that I've always done the right thing. That would be a complete misconception. You see, I was born and raised in Chicago. As a matter of fact, my grandmother was 75 years old, cleaning homes for wealthy people, putting me through college. And she taught me everything that grandmothers teach their children, like go to school, get a good education, get a good job, go to church on Sunday, wear clean underwear in case you get hit by a bus. You know, we all learned all of those lessons from our grandma, big mama, Medea, our aunt, and in many cases, sometimes even depending on what generation we were born in, our direct parent. And so I thought that I had that down pat. And I grew up knowing that I was not rich, but I didn't feel poor. You understand? Like, I never remember being hungry. I never remember, having a need and it not being met, a basic need. And so if I asked my grandmother for money, she'd tell me to look in the room on top of the shelf, behind the box, inside a pocketbook, inside a zipper, wrapped up in a piece of paper towel, is $20. And so I went through that cycle. I eventually got off to college. And by the time I was in college, I was in a bad situation. Many of you know, you've gone to that credit card room the first week of school. And so I went to that credit card room. When I saw people walking around getting one credit card or trying to figure out which one they were going to get, well, guess what? I was getting one of each. Oh boy. And so when the creditors would call and say, Lynn, can you borrow the money? I'd say, can I borrow it from you? I had all kind of funny answers until I got out into the real world. When I got out into the real world, my credit was jacked up. My furniture was from a center. And here I am thinking I'm young, black, and gifted, but I was young, black, and broke. And that was many decades ago, but the situation has not changed today. And so I spend my life, and I'm so proud to partner with DREF, with Delta Sigma Theta, with Toyota, and with all of you to help us all know and understand that more money doesn't solve a money problem. It does not solve a money problem. Because how did I get here? Well, I got out into the real world and I was doing very well. I was very successful, helping people with their money and their credit. But I was living check to Monday. You see, check to check is a blessing. That means you get paid on Friday, and by the next payday you're broke. But check to Monday is an entirely different game. You get paid on Friday, you kick it on the weekend, you pay on your past due bills. Okay? And then by Monday you're broke. And I was living that lifestyle, making 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, $80,000 a month, $90,000 a month. I believe there were some six-figure months. And most people who hear this can't believe it because everybody is thinking, they're looking at their own situation. You're thinking about your situation right now. And you're saying, if I had X amount of dollars, it would fix my problem. But here's the issue. More money doesn't solve a money problem. And so that's why we're here today. Why? Because you cannot fix what you will not face. And the first thing that was a problem for me is I was embarrassed. And then I felt like I was in money cuffs. And they literally, like I had handcuffs behind my back and they were made out of dollar bills. I felt like I should know what to do. I have enough education to do it. But unfortunately, that is not what was happening for me. So here's what I want us to all just take a deep breath right now and understand. There is no shame in confronting your money issues. We talk about everything under the sun, but very rarely do we talk about our true financial situation. And so that's why it's so important to me. And I'm so excited to be partnering with DREF and Toyota and each and every one of you to ensure that we can once and for all achieve financial wellness. So what does that mean? What is the definition of wellness? According to Merriam-Webster, wellness is the quality or state of being in good health, especially as an actively sought goal. And I'm just going to pause here because I'm understanding that that this may be a little choppy. I'm not sure if everyone can hear me. So I just want to make sure that I can be heard. Can I be heard? Just want to make sure I can be heard. Can everyone hear? Okay, so I'm getting a signal from my team that everyone can hear. So please pardon me. I just wanted to take a look at that and make sure that we could actually be heard. So according to Merriam-Webster, wellness is the quality or state of being in good health, especially as an actively sought goal. Okay, according to Pfizer, wellness is the act of practicing healthy habits on a daily basis to attain better physical and mental health outcomes, so that instead of just surviving, we are thriving. And according to the Global Wellness Institute, defines wellness as the active pursuit of activities, choices, and lifestyles that lead to a state of holistic health. So I'm going to ask each and every person that's represented here right now, every single family, what are you dreaming of? What are you believing in? What goals do you still see for yourself? Has money gotten in the way? Is it about financial literacy? Well, I do think that financial literacy is important. It's important, for example, to gain literacy. It's important to learn how to read. But once we learn how to read, we've actually then got to get into action and use what we've read in our lives on a daily basis. In order to understand the significance of financial wellness, it's important to understand how the lack of it is linked to your overall health. So let's look at some of the money illnesses that may plague us. I know that many of these, if not all of them, plagued me. Anxiety, a feeling of nervousness, knowing that a bill is coming and not knowing how to pay it, knowing that you've made a commitment to a family member, to a child, to a loved one, and not knowing how to address that commitment, knowing that the mortgage, you just paid it and now there's no money left, and here it comes again. Here's the rent. I want to move. I have dreams. I want a business. What about stress? Stress leads to all kinds of ailments, and money is one of the areas that contributes to stress. As a matter of fact, more marriages fail due to financial stress than they do to infidelity. Then depression. Oh boy, yes, I was there. And I remember I was so depressed, and I had signs of depression because I wasn't opening any mail. I wasn't looking at things. I wasn't taking care of things. And I kind of just wanted things to kind of disappear. Well, let me tell you something about depressed. It means deep rest. And what has happened, you've taken a deep rest from the person that you want to be and have adopted to become the person that you are currently in the state of being. And each one of us can take that deep rest, but we can get back to a healthy state of being. What about unclear thoughts and confusion, not being able to make decisions? All of these are illnesses that we are taking on as a result of having a lack of financial wellness, lack of forward movement. Do you want to do something? Is there a degree you want to get? Is there a training or certification? Is there some goal you're trying to achieve? Is there something in your life that you know you can do it, but you have not taken that step? In many cases, money is the barrier. But I'm going to tell you, everything that God has blessed me to achieve now and in this time, I've achieved without money. It took me adopting financial wellness. And if I can do it, I know anyone can. What about strained relationships? I remember when I was living check to Monday, all of my relationships were strained. My relationship, and thank God my husband was and is as good of a man as he is, because he stood by me the whole time. But because sometimes I wasn't ready or where I needed to be financially, it caused me to be frustrated in my marriage, frustrated with my children, frustrated with business partners, trying to think of how was I going to keep up? How was I going to come up? What about repressed creativity? Let me tell you what that means. That means there's a gift in you, but because money is the illness that's affecting us right now, then we're not as creative as we can be in our businesses, in our passion, in our desires, in these skills that we have. And then uncertainty. Uncertainty may not seem like an illness, but the truth is, and I'm going to tell you this about money, money is so predictable that there's no reason to have uncertainty with something that's as unpredictable, or that is as predictable as money. And so if we adopt a financial wellness, if we commit How am I going to think? How am I going to strategize? How am I going to plan? Then we are able to all walk this financial wellness path together. So gain financial literacy, but understand that reading a concept does not translate to pursuing wellness. Let me repeat, gain financial wellness, gain financial literacy, understand interest rates and things like that. And I think so many of us have had so much financial literacy that when we decided to move forward with this initiative, we chose the term wellness. Because understand that reading a concept does not translate to pursuing wellness. Understand educational achievements as they relate to financial wellness. Now, let me just say this. Let me just start with African American women. African American women are the single most educated demographic on the planet. There is no group of people who has more information than African American women. We have more advanced degrees, bachelor's degrees, master's degrees, professional degrees than any other group of people on the planet. Yet, the average net worth of an African American woman between the age of 35 and 50 is $1. That means the difference between everything we own minus what we owe is $1. And that's a statistic, but I believe it's actually negative. They say we're approaching a zero net worth. I say we are already in many cases at a negative net worth. Because if my student loans are $300,000, but I don't have any assets, then right there, I'm $300,000 in the hole. Learn how to live in and pursue financial wellness. So when I was facing my money issues, I just wanted more money. I wanted more money to get me out of the situation that I was in. I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. But guess what? It wasn't until I pursued a lifestyle. And when the money was no longer the issue and the lifestyle was, then the money began to follow the lifestyle. So also remember, knowledge is not power until it is put into action. So I'm going to invite you to get pen and paper. I'm going to invite you to take down as many of these concepts as you can. I'm then going to open it up for Q&A. And so I am just very, very excited about this wellness journey that we are taking together. So stair step number 1, today's topic is to spend less money. And I know that's not what I did not want to hear it. As a matter of fact, when I realized that I was living check to Monday, when I realized that there was way more bills, there was way more commitments than money, I cried. I cried for weeks. And after I got through crying, the money was still not there. The bills were still there. So the first step, and this is not just for those who are struggling, this is for anybody who wants to hit the reset button, anybody who wants to be an accountability partner, anybody who has a mother, a sister, a son, a daughter, a father, or someone that you want to help. This is a great time for every last one of us to hit the reset button. So get your budget under control by any means necessary. Even if you are doing well, this is a great time to reset, renew, and revive. How do we do that? Well, I recommend that you live by the 10-10-30-50. So if you're looking at the left-hand side of the screen, what does that mean? That means the first 10% of every dollar you get. For me, I believe in tithing. For some, they may say giving. So for the first 10% of every dollar, then I'm suggesting that you tithe. Now, you may be thinking, Lynn, I don't have enough money for that. Lynn, I'm going to do it when? Let me help you understand something. I started tithing when I did not have the budget to do so. I had a big fat corporate salary, a big fat 6-figure salary. And when I got my check stopped up here and my bills kept going all the way down the page. And so I started tithing because I realized I was broke whether I tithed or not. It wasn't like if I kept the tithing money, I was straight. I was broke either way. So I started tithing so at least I could have God on my broke side when I prayed. I'm just telling you the truth, okay? I was down and out. I was destitute. I did not know what to do. So I figured at least I should obey God or do something right to get me in the mindset to have some kind of discipline with my money. And so I began to pray. And some people say, well, Lynn, do you tithe off your gross or do you tithe off your net? I say that's a good question. And I believe that God blesses our intention. And so I'm going to tell you what I did. And I am an ordained minister and a pastor, and I've gone to seminary and I've read the entire Bible, but I also believe in being practical. And so what I started doing is I started tithing off my net because I couldn't give money that I did not have. And so if I received $1,000, then I would tithe or give $100. And I sat down and I had a meeting with God and I said, listen, I'm going to give you 10% of what I got. You're going to have to get the rest from FICA and them because I didn't get that part. I did not get that part. Okay. And, you know, these were funny ways to give myself the encouragement that I needed, but it really was practical and it really was true. So I say, don't get caught up in spiritual laws that someone taught from somewhere else and so on. I say, do what you feel good about and do what brings wellness to your heart. The next 10%, I would say, is saving. Okay, so the next 10% is for saving. And I would say saving by any means necessary. I would also say save this 10% and put it in a bank account on the other side of town that is not connected to your checking account. All right. Right now, there are high yield savings accounts. If you just Google it, you can Google high yield savings and you'll see many reputable companies out there that have high yield savings, and they have very, very good interest rates right now. Now, here's the beautiful thing about saving your 10%. After 10 months, if you were just basing this off of a $1,000 budget per month, after 10 months, you would have $1,000 saved. Now, let me tell you where that places you in terms of financial wellness and what you're going to be able to do to go to the next level. It's going to place you in the majority because the majority of people do not have $1,000 saved in an emergency fund. And here, if you do this after 10 months or after 10 pay periods, then you'll have at least $1,000 saved. The next 30%, and this is very, very, very important. The next 30% is for your incidentals, okay? And I'm recommending that this 30% be on a separate debit card, separate from your giving, separate from your savings, and separate from your bill money, okay? And I'm going to say, even if you have a really hard time being disciplined, then you may want to put a portion of this in an envelope as cash. So if you know that you are tempted to go out to eat lunch with your colleagues or your coworkers, or if you know that you may be tempted to just swipe your debit card or your credit card, and if you know you have a spending addiction, then you may want to deal with cash. What is a spending addiction? Well, in case you are confused, a spending addiction is what you have when you go to the grocery store for toothpaste and you walk out with $179.47 worth of stuff you don't need, talking about it was on sale. And I know that would happen to me often. When I started living by the 10, 10, 30, 50, I did not have the discipline to stop myself. Let me repeat. I did not have the discipline to stop myself. And instead of being ashamed about it, I took action. And so I went to the grocery store and I had $100 cash. When I got to the counter to check out, I had $200 worth of stuff. If I had a credit card, a debit card, or a check, I would have literally swiped the card or I would have written a check and I wouldn't have thought about it. Let me tell you why. One, because of pride, because I would not have wanted to stand there at the cashier looking as if I did not have the money to pay. Or two, I would have been ashamed. And here's the deal. Pride and shame are all the same. And what we want to do is we want to forget what people think and do what we know is good for us. And because I had to put some things back, because I had to look at things and ask what the price was. And of course, you know how it is if you're in the grocery store line and people are behind you and they start getting irritated with you. And then I think I started getting irritated with them. Well, it taught me a very, very good lesson. So this 30% is for groceries, gas, hair, nails, the new phone, concerts, a new outfit, clothing, new pair of shoes, whatever it is. If it doesn't fit, get rid of it. Okay? And here's one of the important things that we need to understand about these incidentals. I run companies for several major global iconic VIPs, very influential people. And what I know about people who run big empires is that they're always looking for something new to invest in. They're always researching and they're looking for new things for you to buy. And so oftentimes they will find something that will only cost them 10 cents to make, but we will stand in line on Black Friday for 2 hours to go and buy it for $200 or $300. And I call these items deals at the stake. Deals at the stake are items that we buy in the 21st century that aren't worth the ashes we could have burned them to on the stake back in the day. For example, $5,000 rims on a $500 car. Okay. Expensive shoes. Okay. Things that we buy. Video game systems. Let's think about it. If you really want to be honest, Atari 5200 that came out in 1982, it was in color. It had a joystick. You could play Miss Pac-Man, Millipede, Centipede. But what happens? Every single year, there's a new video game system that comes out that tells us that we can do something better. But the truth is, these are deals at the stake. And ladies, I say this often and I have to say it again. No matter what has ever happened in our economy, no matter when there has been a recession, no matter what has happened, there has not been a purse company that has ever gone out of business. I'm not going to name them here, but I am pretty sure you are aware of who these purse companies are. So from this day forward, we will live by the universal purse test, which says this: if the purse costs more than the amount of money you can keep in it on a regular basis, forget what people think and leave it on the rack. Leave it on the rack, because our wellness, our well-being, the true wealth that we build in our families, in our communities, is way more important than someone else's legacy or someone's lifestyle or someone's style that they've made us believe is important. So forget what people think. So this 30% is very, very important. And there are many other financial professionals who'll tell you, don't buy anything, pay off all your debt. And that may work for some people. And if that works for you, that's great. But I find that the great majority of people need some emotional support along the way. You need to be able to make a decision. Am I going to spend some of this 30%? Some of this $300. I may want to get my hair done. I may want to go to the movie theater. If I'm going to go to the movie theater, I'm going to make sure I use my points so I can get in the theater. I'm also going to use my points to buy my refreshments. And I may just only have to use my money on either dinner afterwards or so on and so forth. But it's very, very, very important to know that this 30%, the power is in your hands. And I remember a young lady when I was speaking at an event with thousands of women. And she came up, she said, Lynn, I got it. She said, I've never really been able to budget, but I can do this. This is very simple. This is very easy for me to do. And she said, but here's the problem. She said, the 30%, it's just enough for my hair. Now I'm just going to stop right there. I'm going to take a moment of silence. She said it was just enough for her hair. But what she was doing, she was still spending beyond the $300 or whatever it was every single month. And here's the issue. She was robbing Peter to pay Paul. She was going into her savings, and then she was using her credit card. And what happened is things began to spiral out of control. And so I said, listen, if you want to spend your whole $300 on your hair, go right ahead. But when you die of starvation because you had no money for groceries, we're going to look in the casket and say her hair sure was sharp. Okay. And here's what's happening. That's funny sometimes when I say it in public and people chuckle a little bit. But the truth is, we are killing our dreams. We are killing our plans. We are killing the true wealth that we can have because we are going outside of the mathematical rule. Okay. So again, the first 10% you tithe, the next or give, the next 10% you save, the next 30% is for incidentals. Now, here's something that I want us all to understand. We are not in a less than ideal situation when it comes to our financial wellness because we aren't intelligent enough. It is not that we are not capable. It is not, in some cases, that we haven't even been told. What I'm going to talk about right now, just momentarily, is its mindset. You see, oftentimes Black and brown people, and those of us who have come from traditionally underserved communities, we have been taught that when we get the opportunity to have something, that we have to show the world we got it. And I'm going to say that when it comes to true wellness, it's not about what you look about, it is what you are actually being about. And remember this: rich people stay rich because they act poor, and poor people stay poor because they act rich. And poor people stay poor acting rich in front of other poor people, which really is not what we want to do. So we want to remember our power. And when you look at whatever your dollar amount is, and that's every single time you get paid. So if you get your regular check from your job, if you get some money from driving Uber, if you get some money from doing hair or nails or your consulting business or your side hustle or whatever it is, you apply the 10, 10, 30, 50. Now, the remaining 50% stays in your checking account for your bills. The remaining 50% stays in your checking account for your bills. And I want it to be in a separate checking account. And I want it to be in a separate checking account so that you know the money is there. And I have a treat for you at the end that's going to help you kind of see everything. And so if you see what's in there and you know you have to spend more than that, then you may decide to take something from your incidentals. Okay. So the 50% that's in your checking account for your bills is for you to actually pay your light bill, your gas bill, your car note, your automobile insurance, your mobile phone bill. All of everything that is a bill gets to come out of this pot. So to be clear, on the right side of the screen, if you have $1,000 and you are living by the 10, 10, 30, 50, $100 will go towards tithing. $100 will go towards savings. And I'm going to say, put that money in a separate bank account on the other side of town that you do not have easy access to. Back in the day, I'd link my savings to my checking, and at 8 o'clock in the morning, I'd put money in my savings account, and by 3 o'clock in the afternoon, it was all gone. Okay, so you don't want easy access to it. And if you can set up auto transfer, do that. The next $300 is on a separate debit card, separate from your bills, separate from everything else. And if you have trouble sticking to it, then put that $100 in an envelope just for your meals. Put that $100 in an envelope just for miscellaneous entertainment. Put that money in the envelope or whatever amount, however you want to divvy it up. Okay. And then the remaining $500 will be in your checking account. So here are a couple of issues that may happen, however, when we are on stair step number 1. What happens if you have more than enough money? So somebody has done their math and they've said, you know what? I've got more than enough money. I've heard Lynn talk about this before, but I'm doing a reset and I'm excited because I've got enough money. Well, I'm going to say slow down, because the first thing you want to do is eliminate debt. Why do you want to eliminate debt? The reason why you want to eliminate debt, that means your credit card debt, your student loan debt, or any other debt that you may have, is because when you pay interest, when you pay debt, then someone else is earning the money that you could be earning. And money will work harder for you than you can ever work for it. Think about how hard you work for your money. Think about how hard you work every day. Think about how hard you work drumming up new business for your side hustle or your home-based business or your business. Think about how hard you work every single day, whether you want to or not. Well, what I'm telling you is money will work harder for you than you can ever work for it if you let it. If you let it. So what do you want to do? You want to apply any extra money you have to your credit cards and your loans. Start with the smallest balance first. Now, I choose this method. There are other people who will tell you to start off with the smallest interest rate. I do not recommend that way, because the item with the smallest interest rate could take you 10 years to pay off, right? And what I'd like to see you do is I'd like to see you have some wins, and I'd like to see you winning quickly. Because when you start winning quickly, It contributes to your emotional wellness and your mental wellness, and all of it works together for your financial wellness. So start with the smallest balance, pay it off, take the extra money, pay it off, and then take all the money you were using on that bill and go with the next one and the next one and the next one. So if you had an extra $500 a month and you have a bill outstanding for $1,000, that means you're going to pay it off in 2 months. Now you're going to take all the money that you were paying on that bill and apply it to the next one. After that bill is paid, take the entire amount and apply it to the next bill, and you're going to see some great things for yourself. Now, you might be thinking, well, Lynn, that sounds like hard work. Lynn, that sounds like it's a boring lifestyle. Well, I'm going to say this, okay, about hard work. Being broke is hard work, okay? You can get a PhD learning how to rob Peter to pay Paul. So if we're going to do hard work, we're going to do the hard work, doing the thing that's going to get us to where we want to be and to get us out of the place that we do not want to be in. But I would also say, if you have some extra money, if you don't want to contribute all of it to eliminating debt, then apply some of it to increasing your savings. Increase your savings for retirement. Add a little bit more to your emergency fund. Add something to your vacation fund or Christmas or whatever it is, or your business. But do not immediately just go out and buy new things. That's what happened to me. Every time I was making more money, I'd go out and buy new things. I'd go out and get a bigger house, a bigger car, a bigger everything, a more of this and more of that. And I was spending more. And if you've ever gotten a raise, you can probably attest to this. When you get a raise, if you raise your expenses, then you will have more bondage and less freedom. Most of us will get a $10,000 raise and buy a $50,000 car, or $50,000 raise and buy a $500,000 house. And although we do want to ensure that we can acquire new things and get assets that increase in value over time, you want to ensure that you are doing it with a strategy. Now, I'm just going to go right back to this item here. If you have more than enough money, your goal is to pay all of your bills once per month. I want you to just take a look at that goal. Pay all of your bills once per month. Let me tell you why. If you pay all of your bills once per month, that means money is going out once in the month, and you can focus on money coming in for the other 29 days. So one day of the month, money goes out. For the other 29 days, money comes in. I am telling you, that is a mind-shifting game strategy that will elevate you to a new dimension. Let me make it annual. If you pay all of your bills once a month, on the same day, once a month, if you can get it there, that means money will go out of your account 12 days out of the year. And you can focus on money coming into your account for the other 353 days. Now tell me what kind of power that would be for you. If you looked at a calendar year and money only went out for 12 times that calendar year, and the other 353 days, you can focus on building your business, your brand, your community, your wealth, then now you are operating with power. So if you have more than enough money, it is not a license to go and buy more of everything. It is not a license to go and get everything new. Because if your money, let me go back up here. If you stick with this course and you learn how to make your money grow, money will work harder for you than you can ever work for it. Now your interest can now buy that house. Your interest can now buy that car. Your interest can now fund that business. But as long as you are giving your interest away to someone else, then they are making sure that their interest is met and not yours. Okay. Now, what do you do if you do not have enough money? So someone has done the 10, 10, 30, 50, and you do not have enough money. And this is where I was. I had already written the book, Living Check to Monday. I just was not following my own rules. I had already, been teaching people, but I was not practicing what I was preaching. And so if you do the 10, 10, 30, 50, and you look at it and you don't have enough money, then you must subtract. You must subtract. Remember, this is basic mathematics. 1 plus 1 equals 2. If your stuff adds up to 10, it will never fit into 2. So your job will be to subtract. Now, looking at my budget, the very first time I did this, I don't know, almost 20 years ago, when I began to make the shift, first, it just broke my heart because I had way too many bills and not enough money. And then when I realized, okay, I had to cut some things out, I went into a whole nother level of depression, a whole nother level of anxiety. I was stressed out. I was thinking, what about my kids? And I was so worried about all the activities. I was worried about all the groups I was in. I was worried about what people were going to think. And so I started cutting out activities. My children were going to dance school. I pulled them out of dance school and put them in the free dance ministry at the free church. Okay. I pulled them out of the cheerleading where they were going all around the country. And on ESPN, I pulled them out the free cheerleading program that was costing the expensive cheerleading program, and I put them in the free cheerleading at the free school. Okay. I took them out of private school. I took them out of the private school, and I went and bought a house, literally, in a district where I wanted my children to go to school. And then I put them in the free school in the district where I was already paying taxes. And this was very hard. And at first, I was worried about what people would think. But then when I started saying to people, this is not in my budget, it was as if people started taking off their body magic and their wigs and their weaves, and everybody started getting free. And so while I was worried about what people think, what I found is people were actually willing to allow me to lead. And because I was leading with financially wise decisions that were leading to my wellness, other people wanted to be a part of that. So I'm going to say, what if you don't have enough money? Get your emotions in check. Yes, it can be depressing. Yes, it can be sad. Yes, it can make you feel as if you did not live up to a commitment. It was a very, very heartbreaking. The first year I had to subtract not only all of these things, but I had to subtract Christmas presents. I could not afford Christmas presents. But I realized my children needed a parent who could teach them how to be financially free more than they needed Christmas toys, more than they needed to brag about what Santa Claus brought them. So this is money. Money is predictable. Money is not emotional. We are. Money is more predictable than the weather because it's simple mathematics. And if we know where our math is, then we have the ability to be free. We have the ability to go to the next level. Is it hard? Yes. Is it worth it? Absolutely. And so the next thing I would say is if you don't have enough money, and this is even if you do, but you're looking to maybe pay off that house. You're looking to eliminate all your debt so you can now start investing. So by the time we get to make your money grow, you actually have something to work with. I'm going to say get into financial wellness survival mode. Now, survival mode usually is not something that I'm proud of. Survival mode typically means that I'm stressed out, I'm overwhelmed, I can't see the forest for the trees, I'm moving fast. But I'm going to tell you, being in financial wellness survival mode is a good thing. Track every single penny. Track every single penny. Start today. Go back to the beginning of the month if you can, the beginning of the quarter. Start right now. Why? Because some say money walks, but I say some say money talks. Let me repeat that. Some say money talks, but I say money walks away from you quietly and you don't know where it went. It would be nice if a dollar said, I'm about to bounce up out of here. And when you come find me, I will not be there. It would be nice if money actually did talk, but it does not. So you want to go see where every penny is. And you want to go in your Cash App. You want to go in your PayPal. You want to go in your Zelle. You want to find all those places where you have money. And if somebody sends you a Cash App, don't spend from the Cash App. Deposit that money into your account, put it in the 10, 30, 50 pool, and then go from there. The next thing that I'm going to tell you about financial wellness survival mode, and then we're going to be able to open up for questions. I'll do a very, very brief review because I know that we are moving, but we unfortunately don't have a lot of time. The beautiful thing is you will be able to see this again. And so I'm going to get through as much as I can, then open it up for Q&A. Track every person, track every activity, and track every thought. Let me help you understand what I mean by this. When I wanted to get my money straight, I could not hang out with people who didn't. When I wanted to get my money straight and I wanted to be careful about every penny I spent, I had to disconnect and detach from people who were doing the same old thing. When I wanted to get my money straight and everybody was complaining, they were broke and everybody was complaining in the group, but they were still going out. I detached myself from them. I did not make an announcement. I do not recommend you go make an announcement, tell anybody. Just make the internal decision. And so if people were trying to encourage me, oh, you deserve this, I cut that energy off. Oh, you should go treat yourself. I cut that energy off because I knew what I needed to do for me. I also had to be very careful about activities. I have a very, very good a student who is very, very just connected to her family. And I love my family. But every weekend, the family gets together, and every weekend, she's spending extra money. Every weekend, she's spending money, and she can't break away until she started practicing financial wellness. And what she had to do is join the family via Zoom. What she had to do is join the family once a month instead of every weekend. What she had to do is join the family once a quarter instead of once a month. So whatever it takes for you. And then also your thoughts. What are you thinking? What is your belief system? What are those thoughts? Every time a negative thought comes in your head, replace it with a positive thought. Every time something negative seems to worry you, replace it with faith. Every time something negative appears in your energy is like money in the bank. Once you spend it, it's gone. So you're going to need all of your good, healthy, well energy in order to help you get to where it is you are trying to go. So what I'm going to do, let me actually just go back very quickly. I'm just going to go back very quickly. And I'm just going to go through wellness and the definition of wellness. Wellness is the quality or state of being in good health, especially as an actively sought goal. Wellness is the act of practicing healthy habits on a daily basis. That means this is something daily to attain better physical and mental health outcomes so that instead of just surviving, you're thriving. The Global Wellness Institute defines wellness as the active pursuit. This means you have to go after it, of activities, choices, and lifestyles that lead to a state of holistic wealth. Are you facing any of this? Anxiety, stress, depression, unclear thoughts and confusion, lack of forward movement, strained relationships, repressed creativity, or uncertainty? Gain financial literacy, but understand that reading a concept does not translate to pursuing wellness. Understand the difference between educational achievements and financial wellness. The two do not automatically go hand in hand. But if you take your educational achievements and you apply wisdom, then that's where you build wealth. Learn how to live in and pursue financial wellness from wherever you are. I filed bankruptcy twice. And in 2008, during the recession, is my last bankruptcy, I found wellness at zero. I found wellness when there was zero because my mind was ready and I was ready to do the work. And knowledge is not power until it is put into action. So the 10, 10, 30, 50, once again, the first 10% you tie, the next 10% you save. 30% is for incidentals, groceries, gas, hair, nails. If it doesn't fit, get rid of it. 50% stays in the checking account for your bills. If you have more than enough money, eliminate debt, increase your savings. Make it a goal to pay all your bills once per month. And do not immediately just go out buying more things. And if you don't have enough money, then subtract. Okay? And remember that money will work harder for you than you can ever work for it. So, homework assignment number 1 of 2 is you're going to complete the 10, 10, 30, 50 worksheet. And that will either be provided to you by the organizers here today via chat, and or you will receive it via follow-up. Make any adjustments. So some of you may not live by the 10, 10, 30, 50. Some of you, your 30% is too much. If you've got a humongous salary and you're looking at $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 for your 30%, I'm going to put you on the 10, 10, 10, 70. okay? Or the 10-10-10-20-60, okay? So you may have to adjust this if you are finding that there's way too much money in that incidental category. So homework assignment number 1 of 2 will be to complete the 10-10-30-50 worksheet. And then homework assignment number 2 of 2 for this week will be to download the free budgeting journal. And it looks like the image that you see there on the right. And I'm going to recommend that you write in it every day. Get yourself a nice folder, get your hole punch, and really take this on and do this for yourself, with your children, with your significant other, with your best friend, with a line sister, with a niece or a nephew, a godchild, a goddaughter. Then get in the business of doing this for yourself. And then I'm going to say every single page on the budgeting journal, there's a daily affirmation. Place that daily affirmation where you can see it. And then share your experiences, share your feelings, share your thoughts. Go through to your text group, go to your chats that you have, and talk about the changes that you are making. Share your wins, and sometimes even share your losses. Because if you make a mistake, remember this: you only have one job. Learn the lesson so you can get the blessing. Okay? So I am now going to remind you of the upcoming sessions that we have. Wellness is a community effort. Tell someone to register if it's not too late to do so. And we are now going to open this up for questions and answers. And I'm going to turn it back over to the moderators. And I am here to answer any questions, to go through Q&A. I'm not sure if they're coming through the chat or if someone's going to moderate the questions and bring them here. We've got just under 45 minutes. So we've got a 90-minute session tonight, and we are just at the halfway mark. And I'm also going to check my device to see if I'm getting any instructions from any of my teammates. Okay, I see a question here that says, what is the best way to invest? So there may be some questions that come up that are going to be addressed at length in another session. And I'm going to address that. I'm going to just pull up the screen here so you can see when that session is coming up. Let me just pull it up right here. In session number 4, Make Your Money Grow, I'm going to be able to give significant dedicated time to that particular topic. But what I would say here today is the best way to invest is to learn how to invest, and also to invest in things that you are familiar with. And so because I won't be able to give that the kind of robust answer that it deserves, and I'd really like to, if possible, stay within this topic today, I would say get on a learning path. And I would also say invest in things that you are familiar with. So if you're investing in the stock market and you buy Nike shoes, then invest in Nike. If you use the Apple iPhone, then invest in Apple. But it's much more complex than that. And so I want to be sure that we have the opportunity to go through that. And I'm going to turn this now back over to our illustrious executive director, because I think we have a presentation before we go into Q&A.
My. Whew, it's a new season. Sora Richardson, thank you so much That was awesome, life-changing information. I'm going to have to listen to this segment again so that I can be sure to implement these strategies in my everyday life. But right now, I want to say this. A famous author, Eric Jerome Dickey, said, "If you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late." So some of you have logged on early, well before 8 o'clock today. And we want to, we have pulled a few names for that. And then there were others. There has been an assignment before we actually got on this evening, and that was to complete the pre assessment. And some of you have actually already completed that as well. So we have not put up last names, but if your name is Naya and your last name starts with a P, I think this is Chanel with a last name beginning with a W, Monica T, Adrena G, and Kimberly P. What I'm going to ask you to do is send an email to Imani Drew at idrew@deltafoundation.net with your complete name and mailing address, and we will be mailing you a budget planner so that you can get started on your journey early. Brandy O, Elnita J, and Louise T, I believe you were names that were pulled as logging on early. And so we would like to provide you with a $25 gift card. Again, we need you to send an email to our executive assistant at Imani Drew at idrew.deltafoundation.net with your complete name and mailing address. And the information is scrolling at the bottom of the screen. So thank you so much. Thank you, and please stay tuned. Again, we have 9 sessions left, and you won't want to miss them. Thank you so much.
Okay, we are now going to go back to Q&A. I do see that several questions have come in, and excellent question. Is this monthly or as we are paid? I'm assuming that is that question is for the 10, 10, 30, 50. That means every time you receive money. So don't wait until the end of the month when you get 2 checks, or if you're collecting 4 checks or 5 checks. We're going to talk about getting more money in the next session. And so if you're like me, you have 19 to 20 different streams of income, or you may want to get to that place. But every time you receive payment, every time, if you do hair, every time you do somebody's braids, if you are a consultant, if you are a tutor, every single time you get paid, if you get paid once a week, twice a month, once a month, every single time you apply the 10, 10, 30, 50, every single time. That's a part of being in the active. That's a part of being actively involved in your financial well-being. And more importantly, it's a great opportunity to get your teen. It's a great opportunity to get your young adult. It's a great opportunity to get even your younger kids involved. I'm going to talk about hiring your kids in the future, but it's a great opportunity to do that. So that's an excellent question. Let's see here. Do we have more questions? If I don't belong to a church, is paying it forward for the 10% for giving? Yes. I don't put any judgment on anyone for what you choose to do for giving. And let me tell you what I did, and let me tell you a little bit about what I do now. Okay. So, from time to time, we're all in a situation where we need to borrow money because we're in a tight spot. Or, we may be in a position where we're the ones that people come to borrow money. Well, I have a budget for giving, right? I have a budget for giving. So I'll decide I'm going to put away X amount of dollars per month for you if that's your 10%. And if somebody needs me, needs support, needs some gas money, when my budget for giving is gone, it's gone. What giving did for me is it really, really gave me discipline. 1, it gave me discipline. And 2, it forced me to be more wise with the rest of the money that was left. And one of the things that I know to be true on this journey through and to financial wellness is good givers are great getters. If you want to receive more, give more. Now, don't give from an empty cup. But if your 10% is tithing to a church, if your 10% is giving to an organization, if you're a member of Delta Sigma Theta and you want to give to DREF, if you want to give to a community center, if you figure out what you can do and what makes your heart feel good about giving. That's an excellent, excellent question. Can we talk about generational wealth and the importance of starting a college fund or custodial account for minors? So one of the things that I'm going to talk about when I talk about how to make your money grow, and when I also talk about how to get your money back, I'm going to talk a lot more about having those funds for those minors. One, I say this, and I'm going to talk about it a little bit more. I do not believe in giving minors an allowance. I believe hiring them to work in the home-based business. That's another tax write-off. They now have financial acumen. And yes, the money that they earn goes into a custodial account. So if in your 10% or in your extra money, so let's say you're already giving to your 401k, and you say, well, Lynn, I want to give another 10%, or I want to take some of my extra money from my 50%, or some of my extra money from my incidentals, and I want to open a custodial account, then absolutely. I do highly recommend that. And yes, generational wealth is what we're after. We are always looking, or we should be looking, to figure out how to make the next generation much more savvy, much more sophisticated, and much more well off financially than we are. So that is an excellent, excellent question. Any more questions? Any questions? I know that there'll be this session today is probably more about mindset change. Are there any questions? Do you have any concerns? Did any of this make you feel that anything that you hear upset you? Sometimes when you hear the truth, you may have to say ouch or amen or both, right? Sometimes hearing the truth doesn't always feel good. You know that it's something that you should do. Every last one of us has been in, or maybe even still in, a situation where we know we should do something differently, but we're not. And that could be related to our money. That could be related to our health. That could be related to our weight. That could be related to our own attitudes. There are lots of things that we're working on. And I think it's absolutely okay. Are you too old to start now? Absolutely not. Let me help you understand something. Let me explain this to you. For everybody who believes it's too late for me, I'm in my 30s. It's too late for me, I'm in my 40s. It's too late for me, I'm in my 50s. It's too late for me, I'm in my 60s. We are projected to live much longer and much longer. So the likelihood that you could live into your 90s is great. Much greater than it was 20 years ago, much greater than it was 50 years ago, significantly greater than it was 100 years ago. So if you're 60, that means you've got another good 20 years to get it right. And if you really focus on the next 3 to 5 years, one of the great things about the pandemic is we were on Zooms every single day teaching. I was teaching everything from investing to businesses to estate planning to, trademarks and all these other things. The truth is, you've still got time, and the rest of your life does not have to be a grind. If you are 50 years old, you still got another good 40 years that you're going to be here on this earth. What happens if you take the next 3 to 5 years and dig in and give yourself a whole new financial makeover? If you're 40 years old, whatever the age is, there's always an opportunity to do it all over again. And then what I'm also going to say about being too old, here's the truth. The first 18 years of your life, you know nothing. Okay. You're somebody else's child. You're somebody else's dependent. And then they just let us free. It's like letting the people, what happened if you just let the animals out the zoo? Where are they going? What are they going to do? So they just let us out and we go. And then we are charged with making our own decisions. But we didn't have a history of decision making. So your 20s, you made a lot of mistakes in your 20s. It's okay. Okay. Because 20-year-olds are not necessarily supposed to be wise. All right. And so then you get into your 30s and you're trying to fix what you did in your 20s because you didn't know anything and so on and so forth. And now you feel frustrated. And so you get into your 30s and it may go over into your 40s because now you feel like you want to keep up. Let's stop all that. It ends today. Wherever you are right now, the harvest is here and the time is now. And it is your season to win now. Do the best you can where you are with what you have right now. Any tips, strategies for paying tax debt? Any reputable companies that assist with this? I would recommend. I mean, this is not a tax conversation, but if you do have tax debt, I would highly, highly, highly recommend that you get on the phone and you contact the IRS and you talk to them every single week if you have to, 2 or 3 times a week if you have to, and you continue talking and explaining your situation until you get someone who is going to help you with a payment plan. There is no reason to stay in the dark about any tax debt. Make sure you confront this. Remember, you cannot fix what you will not face. All right. And so rather than give out names of companies, I'd really like to ensure that the organizers, sponsors at DREF are okay with any referrals that go out. And so perhaps we will post that information, but I'd like to refrain from naming any specific company. But I would also say that I'll provide information in the follow-up for those who would like to learn more. But contact the IRS and please do not be afraid and communicate. Okay. Would you recommend using your savings 401k to pay off debt? I want to get rid of $30,000 in credit card debt. Some of the cards are more than 60 days past due. My income has greatly decreased. So I'm going to say it depends. I typically do not recommend taking your emergency fund to pay off debt. However, if you've lost an income, so let's talk about losing an income. The first thing that needs to happen if you lose an income is to be sure that if you've lost an income, that you reduce everything. I remember having a lunch with a student who had lost her income and she was on her way to get her nails done. I'm like, who? Nobody's getting any nails done. Okay. If you getting your hair done every week, go get you a ponytail. All right. Y'all remember me back in the day? I used to wear a ponytail. Okay. Because I would slick this hair right on up and the ponytail cost me $6 and it would last me 3 months. Okay. Right. So I started to eliminate everything. And so before I start going into my 401k, trying to pay my bills, I'm first going to try to eliminate everything. And then you're going to contact your creditor. You're going to say, I can't pay this month. Can you offer me a 3-month deferment without negatively impacting my credit? Can you offer me a 3-month credit moratorium? Can these payments die for 3 months, essentially, without it impacting my credit? Communicate. And then once you've eliminated everything and you've communicated with your creditors, and if you're finding that you have to keep a roof over your head, it might be time to think about a new roof. Okay. It might be time to think about downsizing. It might be time to think about moving in with someone. And let me tell you why I believe that this is the best plan of action. Because what happens when you start to dip into that 401k to pay off the bills or to pay the current expenses, then once the 401k is gone, you have no money and no 401k. You have no money, you have no emergency fund, and then the money is gone. So I would say try to keep that money there if at all possible, and go to every single possible resort before you do that. Okay? This is good stuff. Can we discuss student loans? How to take advantage of the government assistance forgiveness? You want to go right now and you want to Google student loan forgiveness, and you want to go to the government's website. We can also add that in the follow-up, and you want to follow all the steps that you see there. Okay. If people are trying to charge you to figure out if you can have your student loans forgiven, the information is free. Google student loan forgiveness and go to the government website and go through if you are in public service, if you are a teacher, if you are in an income-driven repayment plan, if your loan has been outstanding for more than 20 or 25 years. That's how my student loan got forgiven. I had a $40,000 balance 25 years ago, and the interest accrued to $132,000. Now, some people may have asked me, Lynn, how did you let your student loan get that high? Because in my early days, and I'm going to talk about student loans, in my early days of becoming financially free and going to school and getting degrees, I took advantage of every opportunity to maximize my cash flow. And so if the government said, Lynn, you can defer your student loans, I deferred them. When the government said, Lynn, you can put your student loans in a forbearance, I put it in a forbearance, because I decided a government that would let me keep delaying and delaying and delaying and delaying, clearly they didn't need the money. I mean, I'm just telling you the truth. They didn't need the money. Okay. So, because typically when you owe somebody, they want that money. So the government kept giving me opportunities. And then I had gone through financial stress. I had gone through bankruptcy. So I wasn't paying during that season. And then the recession of 2008, I wasn't paying during that season. And then my kids were going to college. So by this time, because for many people, right after college, you're not making a lot of money. So by 10 or 15 years, my $40,000 debt was now $80,000. I was like, I'm not paying $80,000 for something that started out at 40. I'm not going to do it. And so I continue to let it accrue. Now, I never went into default. There was no reason to go into student loan default. If you are in student loan default, get out. There's a rehabilitation program. And in the student loan rehabilitation program, you call the servicer, you make 6 consecutive payments. So if the payment is $10, you pay $10 6 times. It has to be 6 consecutive payments. You can't take the 10 and multiply it times 6 and pay $60 one time. You'd have to make 6 consecutive payments and you'll be out of default. Okay. And so by the pandemic, that joker was up there and I was like, they're going to forgive these loans one day. They have to. And they did. Okay. So that's what happened for me. I didn't call anybody. As a matter of fact, so many people were posting on social media that their student loans were forgiven. I decided to go into my email and check the word forgiveness, and there it was. My student loan was forgiven. So if you're looking for all the ways that you can either defer, delay, postpone, or cancel, or otherwise have your student loan forgiven, Google student loan forgiveness and go down the checklist of items that you see on the government's website. Okay. Does that 10, 10, 30, 50 change with age? No. Okay. Now you may make adjustments. You may decide I'm going to do the 10, 10, 20, 60. Or I'm going to do the 10, 10, 10, 70. Or I'm going to do the 10, 10, 40, 40 or something to that effect. But there is no age limitation or age restriction on that. Okay. Paying bills once a month. How do we do that without running into late fees? So that's an excellent question. How do you pay bills once a month without running into late fees? So when I say get to the place where you can pay your bills once a month, and I'm telling you the energy that it gives you, the power, when I pay all my bills once a month, and that's the only time I focus on money going out. And then I focus on the other 29 days of the month, money coming in. It gives me power. It makes me excited. And that's only 12 days going out a year and 353 days I get to focus on money coming in. I am not saying pay your bills late. I'm saying pay them ahead of time. Okay. So whatever that one day is. All right. So if you have a payment due on the 20th and you decide to make all your payments on the 15th, then you pay it on the 15th. If you had a payment that was due on the 1st, you can't wait till the 15th. Okay. So you would have had to build up to this. All right. So if I say for the month of October, I want to pay all my bills one day out of the month. All right. One day out of the month. And I'm going to make all those payments on the 15th. Right. So that means I need to go on and pay my October rent or my October mortgage now. So then in October, then I will pay all of my November bills on October 15th. So if you can get a month ahead, that will be great. And do not feel like you have to do this right away. when I coach my students, it's something that you work up to, okay? Because sometimes we're in a situation where every time we get paid, we got to take a little bit of that money and pay a bill. You got to take a little bit of that money and pay a bill. But then when you start adopting a financial wellness mindset and lifestyle, you start to spend less money. So you've got a little more money available, and now you can pay those bills a little bit early. So I'm certainly not saying pay the bills late. I'm saying pay them before they are due. Okay. Would benefits like HSA and FSA be a good way to save on my regular expenses? So the health savings account, and I'm not sure what the FSA means. So if whoever posted that question, if you could tell me what the FSA is. The HSA and the FSA can help you to be a little more disciplined, but it can also help you save on the amount of taxes that you owe. And I'm going to go into that in much further detail when I get to week 3, when I talk about how to get your money back. Okay. Once I get in a good reputation financially, or okay, I need to put on my glasses now. Let me see. I cannot see. All right. We have to just go ahead and tell the truth and shame the devil. Okay. Once I get in a good position financially, I would like to start a savings plan for the future of my 5 grandchildren. What method do you recommend? So again, I start with the 10, 10, 30, 50. And if there's extra money in your incidentals, or if there's extra money in your 50% that you keep for your bills, then you can start to open a checking account and a savings account. And no amount of money is too small. Okay. But I'd like for you to come back next week and the week after when I talk about getting more money, and more importantly, when I talk about getting your money back. Because yes, one thing we have to do is spend less money. The next thing, I'm spending less money, but I don't have any. Okay, now you got to go get more money. I'm going to talk about that. Well, then now you got to get your money back. Why? Because the more money you make, the more the IRS will take. So if you are strategic about how you spend your money, for example, if I spend my money going out to dinner with my friends, I don't get my money back. But if I spend my money going out to a business dinner that my friends are at, and I discuss business, and the intention of the meeting is business, then I get that money back. Okay. So there's some methods I'm going to teach you, but unfortunately, I can't teach it all today, but I would just say start there. Question. I have about $2,000 in a regular savings account. What specific saving strategies, high yield savings account or investment should I pursue? So I think a high yield savings account is a relatively safe investment. And unfortunately, I cannot talk about any other kind of investment strategies now because they really require that I give you background. So I don't want to give you bad advice about investing. I'm going to say that you should learn how to invest, and you can learn how to invest. And I do have an investing session coming up, how to make your money grow. And I actually have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful speaker who is going to join me with that session as well. So, but I would say that the high yield savings is a great way to start. And if you're looking for your high yield savings, Google it. Google high yield savings, and then find a company that you recognize, and then go on and open your high yield savings account. Okay. What are your thoughts about using credit cards for points? I absolutely love using credit cards for points. And I'm going to say this again, there are many different financial experts, and I've heard them say nobody gets rich off of points. Well, I'm going to tell you, I stay rich because of points. I'm going to just leave that right there for a second. I get about $3,000 to $4,000 every month in free airfare because I use points. And you don't get points in most cases from debit cards. You get points from your credit card or your charge card, like an American Express. So for example, and I'll never forget when I saw this strategy, one of my colleagues early on put all of his bills every month on his American Express. Now he had the money for those bills. He had the money in the checking account, either in the 30% or in the 50%. And at the end of the month or at the beginning of the month, then he paid off the entire American Express. What that meant is hundreds of thousands of points. And so now when he wanted to go to the movies, it's free. When he wanted to take an airplane, get on an airplane to take a trip, it's free. The hotel is free. There are all kinds of free things that you get. But the way to maximize points is to know which points you should maximize. So in the session about how to make your money grow, I will talk more about that. But I am telling you that personally, I'm telling you personally, I received the benefit of thousands and thousands of dollars for my points. Okay. Every time I use my Apple Cash is free money. I get Apple Cash every time I use a specific card. Now I have the money set aside. This is not using my credit card because I'm desperate. It is using my credit card because I have discipline and I have a strategy. Okay. So if you are disciplined with the strategy, that is an excellent way to do that. Because guess what? What is this? What is this about? Spending less money. So if I can spend other people's money, or if I can spend money that, see, they say there's no pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. Well, points are like a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow. That's what points are like. Okay. So a very, very wise way to go and do the things that you want to do without having to spend your own money to do it. Can you advise or elaborate on the best way to roll over your 403B after a job separation when you haven't found new employment? So I'm going to tell you that you need to have a consultation. You need to have a consultation. And I'm not sure if my email address is being provided, but I will defer to the moderators and the organizers to determine how you may best contact me. What I will also share is on the screen, one of the things that you should have seen on the screen, and I'm just going to take a look at, have you take a look at this so you can see what's coming up. Make your money grow. Let me tell you, get more money is huge. Get your money back is huge. Make your money. There are things that I'm going to tell you that you've never heard before, and strategies that you're going to be able to put in place that are going to take you from 0 to 100 very quickly. Protect your wealth, own where you live, all of these things. So if you like for ongoing support, you can join my free group. I have a free community. It's at lynnrichardson.org. There's a free group on Facebook that is private, where we are constantly engaging questions and answers, where my master financial coaches who have been trained, who help people who are practicing what they preach. So if you go to lynnrichardson.org, you can join the group for free. But if you want to know more about how to actually get in a position where you can roll over money from a 403B or 401k or something, then I'm going to tell you to get a consultation, because that's serious business. And I don't want to lead you just with a general discussion here. Okay. And I will tell you this, one of the two things you should look for, you should look to roll it over into an IRA. And you should also look to roll it over into an instrument, if it's possible. Look at an annuity. Okay, so look at an IRA, look at an annuity, and look at something that's going to give you an income for life. All right, that's very, very important. I'm going to talk more about that and how to make your money grow, because everybody here needs an income for life, and most people will not stay on a job long enough to get a pension. And so every last one of us needs to know how to create our own pension. How do you manage the 10, 10, 30, 50 if you are not in debt? So the 10, 10, 30, 50 is not about debt. The 10, 10, 30, 50 is about what you do with the money that you get. So the first 10% you tithe, the next 10% you save, 30% is for your incidentals. Everybody has incidentals. And then if you've got a whole bunch of money left, then you may want to think about investing. You may want to think about starting a business. You may want to think about investing in a startup. You may want to think about, there are so many other things that you can start to think about. And quite frankly, some of my students were in that same position. One of my most prized students, she said, Lynn, I'm retired. I'm financially free. What can I learn? Well, guess what? Now she's got multiple streams of income. She's written her book. She started her business. She's teaching other people. Like, she has a whole new life, right? So there is life after no debt. I'm living it myself. So I'm very excited to share that with you. But yeah, the 10, 10, 30, 50 is more about discipline. And then when you get to the place where you have no debt, then if you've got that extra money after you pay your monthly expenses, then you want to talk about going to the next level. Okay. Can you reshare webinar dates and topic slide? Absolutely. I'm going to pull that up here right now for you. and you are going to see those dates. There you go. Okay. You're going to see those dates there. Okay. All righty. And we will probably also make this available in the follow-up as well. Okay. So that you know what's coming up. Let's see here. Any more questions? Let's see. Can you, oh, I did that question. Are there any more questions? We've got about 10 more minutes. We've got about 10 more minutes. Where can I get the worksheet? So I keep hearing this little tingling over here. It keeps ringing, and that means people are downloading the budgeting journal and the worksheet. So go on and ensure that that link gets out. I'm not sure where it is or where it's showing up, but we will share it again. And I'm pretty sure that it will also go out in the follow-up. So this is the Master Business and Budgeting Journal that is free and available for you to download. And I recommend that you roll up your sleeves, say a prayer, go on and get you a nice cup of coffee, or get you, your tea or whatever, and put it in do the hole puncher, or take it to, I don't recommend you spend any money doing this, but if you can minimize the cost with doing that, get a nice folder and then work through it and take it with you and start to write down your thoughts and your goals and your dreams about what it is that you want to do and where you want to be financially, right? And remember, there is no shame. Okay, any more questions? Looks like we've got about 8 more minutes. Okay, do you think it is a good idea to put investing in the budget? For example, I put $100 a month in a Roth IRA and it's a part of my budget? Absolutely. So once again, the first 10% you tithe, the next 10% you save, 30%. And if that saving is your IRA or your 401k, that's fine. Some people don't have a 401k at their job. If you have a home-based business, I'll talk to you about this in the future. You can set up a solo 401k. At that extra money that you have left over for in your 30%, you can say, in my 30%, here's my budget. This is what I'm going to spend on groceries. This is what I'm going to spend on gas. Let me tell you something about gas, okay? In the recession of 2008, the first time it was the first time in my life when I really saw gas go over about $3 or $4 a gallon. Everything was in gas price distance. That meant it had to be a block from my house, because I lived in a community, in a suburb right outside of Chicago, and everything was right there. The school was there. The Lincoln Highway was there. Walgreens, everything, the grocery store, everything was there. So if you were not in gas price distance, I did not see you. Okay. So I had a budget for gas. And now for those of us who have to work, all right, unfortunately, you cannot write off gas for your work commute. But what you can write off is gas every time you get in your car for your home-based business. You'll have to come back next week for that one. Okay. So these are some ways to save. And yes, you can put investing into your budget. Any of that extra money out of your 30% or your 50%. If we need structured help with this plan, suggestions on who can help, financial advisor, can you provide your contact info if we can reach out to you? So once again, I'm going to say go to the group, lynnrichardson.org. Go to the free group, lynnrichardson.org. And then I do believe that our organizers will provide some links and contacts. And yes, for those who need one-on-one help, one-on-one coaching, one-on-one encouragement, you need somebody in your ear on a daily basis. It is my prayer and my hope that we'll be able to provide that as well. So we'll work through the logistics of getting that. But what I would say for now today is to go on and do today's homework assignment, download that 10, 10, 30, 50 worksheet, and just start doing your numbers. Do your math, do your numbers, own it, take power over it. And then look at all the money that you're spending everywhere else, track every single penny for the next 30 days. And download the budgeting manual and just start to, don't feel like you have to know everything. Just open it and just deal with one page at a time, one instruction at a time. Okay. Thoughts on debt consolidation. I do not believe in debt consolidation. Let me tell you why. Because most debt consolidation companies do not put their consumers in a better position. Unfortunately, with some debt consolidation companies, they'll take all of your debts and they'll consolidate them into one payment, but those creditors may still be reporting you late. Those creditors may still come after you individually and separately. If you are going to consider debt consolidation, I highly, 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 highly recommend that you speak with someone and understand your legal options in bankruptcy, because Chapter 13 bankruptcy is essentially a debt consolidation. But what happens with a debt consolidation in bankruptcy, one, the creditors stop reporting you late. Two, you do not have to worry about anybody coming after you if you are not able to pay all of it off. Because with a debt consolidation, in many cases, you're going to pay a percentage of the lower level debts. And then number three, do not believe the hype. Do not let people tell you that bankruptcy is the end of the world, because it is not. I tell the story often of one of my dear friends that I grew up with in childhood. And she used to tell this story, and we were in the financial services industries together. She called me in October of 2008 because she could no longer juggle anymore. She was robbing Peter to pay Paul. And she said, Lynn, this month I won't be able to pay my bills. She called and she filed bankruptcy. Her credit scores went up. Her credit scores went from 700 to 800. Why? Because she never made a late payment. And so once all of her debts were consolidated into the bankruptcy, she now had more liquidity. Now, is that the answer for everyone? No. But here's what I don't want you to do. Sometimes people are in denial, and we've been told never to file bankruptcy and all this stuff. But by the time we get to the bankruptcy court, broke was 72 stages ago. Okay. And wealthy people understand that bankruptcy is business reorganization. It is business. It is not emotional. Okay. And for those who think biblically is wrong, even the Bible has something to say about bankruptcy and debts being forgiven in 7 years. So debt consolidation usually is the last thing on my list, because I've not seen it be successful, actually ever. I've never seen it be successful ever. And if you are truly in a position where you cannot pay all of your bills, then you want to speak to someone about the options that are best for you. Should you pay off credit card balance monthly while participating in this webinar? So one of the things that I said in the 50%, go on and take that extra money and put all of it on your smallest balance. Wipe that credit card out in a couple of months. Then take all the money, put it on the next smallest balance and next smallest. So yes, if you are in position and if you've got extra money to pay off debt, absolutely. Why? Because that interest is working for someone else, and you actually want that interest to work for you. Okay.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. Are you all just clapping your hands and waving, saying hallelujah? And this is just the first week. I am Antoinette Rogers, Director of Programs for DREF, and I want to thank you, Dr. Richardson, for such a wonderful, insightful first session. You have started us off in such an excellent way. I am excited about this. I have 3 pages of notes. So I want to encourage all of our viewers and participants to take notes as well. And get yourselves some nice notebooks, some pieces of paper, whatever it takes. But we need you to take notes about this. And we also need you to spread the word. The great news is that we have 9 more weeks and that registration is still open for anyone, particularly those 13 years and older. And for those of you who have middle school or high school students, we know that financial literacy is important. And most states now have a financial literacy component for graduation. So why not give your students a head start by getting them to sit in? I don't know about you, but I have multiple devices going here. I've been looking on my laptop, but I also have this up on YouTube on my television. So I would encourage you to invite your family and friends to come over and participate. You can find information about registering on the DREF website at www.deltafoundation.net. You can also find the flyer, which has the QR code for registration on all of our social media sites. Just type in DREF or Delta Research and Educational Foundation. And we just want to encourage you to be here every week, 9 more weeks. And the wonderful news is that if you aren't able to be on live on Thursdays, these sessions are being recorded. They will be posted on our website for on-demand access. And many of you have asked, how soon will they be available? We know you want to see them right away, but we just ask that you give us 2 to 3 days so that we can make sure that our technical issues are worked out and that we have them edited and posted so that you can access them and get all the information you need. Hopefully, you enjoyed the special surprises that we had in the way of prizes and gifts. And we want to encourage everyone to stay on for all 9 weeks so that you too are eligible to receive some of these great surprises we have lined up. We want you to know that this webinar series is being broadcast on Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter, which was formerly, well, now called X, formerly Twitter. And of course, you can contact us at DREF if you have any questions. And we have seen your comments for those who are having difficulty with accessing the materials at the links. So we will make sure that we get all of those things worked out so that you can get your 10, 10, 30, 50 worksheets, that you can get you can download your budget workbook and everything that you need to be successful. We thank you for joining us tonight, and we look forward to seeing you next Thursday. Again, check us out at www.deltafoundation.net if you would like to view the replay or download additional resources or get contact information for Dr. Lynn. We thank you. Have a wonderful evening. Take care.